Welcome everybody to How to Set Smart Goals in 2024. Anthony Childs here, and for your New Year's resolution, I want you to follow this method so that you can sustain your goals for not only in the short term, as we're going to talk about, but also long term. Many people set goals at the beginning of the year, and by February, they're gone, right? So following this method is going to help you to be successful. So let's jump right in to what it means to set a SMART goal. And we're going to start with specific. Now listen, the whole point about being specific is, what do you want to accomplish? What steps do you want to take to get there? And who's going to be responsible for making sure that each step of the goal is completed? So let's jump right into an example of how you can set up your action plan so again you can have success starting day one. Now listen, about 14% of us actually have goals, okay? That we set goals. So 86% of people say they don't even have them. But out of the 14%, only 3% of the people write it down. And what research tells us is that when you actually write your goals down, there's a 3 times multiplier of you actually executing those goals. So the people that are done with their goals in February are the ones, A, that didn't write them down, and B, they're not making sure they have a method like the SMART goal method to actually help them track it and make sure that they're accomplishing it. So when you look at the specifics, I'm going to give you a quick 30-day action plan that's going to give you specifics on how to accomplish this. So for example, I just say, I want to increase connection with my family by spending quality time with them. Okay, so this is just an example, and some of the quality connections that I want. Now, this again being specific, it's just not saying I want to run a marathon. If I want to run a marathon, there's steps that I have to take right in order to get there. So if I'm saying my goal is to spend more time with my family, what are some things that I want to do? Well, one thing I've elected to do is I'm going to eat with my family at least one meal per day. The second thing is maybe on Fridays we have a family fun night. Again, that's going to connect us with more connection and more purpose in what we do. And then finally, I'm definitely going to say there's going to be no tech devices. Listen, because these things we connect, but we disconnect because in the way that we present, when it's especially coming with family time, it always gets ruined, right? So those are some of the specific things I'm doing when I'm working with being able to set those goals. The next thing we're going to talk about is they have to be measurable. So looking at measurable, how will you know you have achieved your goal? And a couple of key points there are, how should you objectively measure what you want to achieve? How will you track your goal? And if somebody actually looked at your goal on a piece of paper, they can easily follow it and understand it and know that that goal is actually being reached. That's important. So let's take that same example and then work right through it. So say by February 1st, 2024, this is my 30-day action plan. I am going to every day spend at least minimum 15 minutes with my family. Okay. And for the week, I'm going to set at least 120 minutes that I'm going to be with my family. So now I'm actually starting to measure what I'm doing. Okay. Now, what are some specific, even more specific things that I can do to measure that time? Well, I'm going to use a calendar, right? The calendar is a great way to actually measure your time because you can put things on the calendar when you actually begin to look at how much time that needs to be set. So if I'm going to do that one meal a day, mostly everyone is able, I would think, to have dinner with one another, right? That's the most, I would say, the basic time, because most people got to go to work, the kids got to go to school. And so in the evening times, I would think if you have a 9 to 5, you can go to, you can eat together. All right. And then you also want to set those weekly goals, because if you meet them, then they can be celebrated. So the reason why I'm putting time, and we'll get this in a minute, but you got to put a time, you got to put something measurable there, right? I just can't say I want to spend quality time with my family and then don't put no time to it, right? So I'm saying a minimum 15 minutes a day, because everybody has to eat. So we're going to spend at least 15 minutes at the dinner table or wherever we eat, and we're going to have that time that we're going to be together. So you have to put some type of measurable action to it so that you can track it over time. Now you got to ask yourself the next thing, is this actually achievable? Can you and your family reasonably complete that objective? Is it a stretch goal? Is it purposefully challenging in order for you to meet that goal? And finally, is there some reason why somebody would be demotivated to get this goal? Now, listen, if for an example, if you're trying to spend time with family, maybe the teenagers are going to be like, man, when y'all said no tech devices, I can't do that. right? That's not really something that's demotivating. But if you really put the value on what you want, which is family time, then it may demotivate some of the teenagers. But overall, I think you're going to have a good plan because the value there is quality time. All right. So let's think about some way of achieving that goal in more specifics. So my 3 specific items that I had, let's go over those and find out if they are achievable. Number 1, I may elect, we're going to eat dinner as a family every day at 6 p.m. Is that achievable? Yeah, no. What about have conversations with my family each day without a technology device? That's good, right? Can that be achievable? I believe it can. Give it a thumbs up. And then finally, on family game night on Fridays. Again, it's a toss-up with work schedules and other things. But we're going to focus on the specific one of being purposefully challenging. And the reason why I say purposefully challenging is because even though it may not be able to be accomplished on a day-to-day basis or the goal that you have set, if you still are able to accomplish it and you have to move things around, then you still want to be able to try to attain to it in order for it to be successful. So eating dinner daily with the family is probably something that may not happen every single day, right? And the reason why I say that is because you got work schedules, you got, again, kids going to school, after school activities, you got traffic, other events that happen throughout the week. You may not be able to sit down and eat every day at 6 p.m. Or you may not even have all the people there with you. It's, if you have, mom and dad and you have 2 or 3 kids, you might not even be able to all do it at the same time. But if you set that goal, let's try to see if we can make it. Because again, the goal is quality time. That's what we're really looking for. So think about it. Now we're going to tackle the relevant part. And being relevant just doesn't contribute to your overall mission and vision. Should families have a mission and vision for themselves and a purpose? Yes, right? So why are you setting this objective or this goal? How does this goal fit with your wider aspirations? And finally, what would it mean to you if you actually met this goal? Again, I'm going specifically for the family dynamic as the example, but you can plug any goal in here utilizing the same system. Your vision and your goals truly equal success. So I'm asking these first 3 questions. Why am I setting this goal? So for the example of the family, I really want to have deeper connections with my family, and I want to increase my relationships with them, again, to increase that overall quality time. How does this fit with my wider aspirations? Well, to align my core values and my intentions with my priorities being my family. That's what truly matters. A lot of times when we're setting these goals or a wider vision or purpose for our lives, we don't really prioritize the things that we need to. And so once you're starting to set goals, your priorities start to change because it's like, all right, for my example, family is everything, right? Sometimes we let our work go above our family. And so because of that, it detracts us from actually doing some of the things that we want to be able to do, which is what would it mean to me if I meet my goal? Well, you know what? I want to be an example for my family. I want to create a legacy for my children to follow. See, that is a value. That's a core value. And that sometimes trumps, I need to get this extra few dollars so I can pay this bill, or I got to get this project done at work. Your goal is to spend quality time with your family. Your goal is to feed your family so that they have the proper nourishment, culture, and climate-wise so that they can grow healthy and be a part of this totally cool, dynamic family that you're trying to build, right? So, again, it's all about that data. Again, if I decide, we're going to have quality time together. All right, so tomorrow we're all going to eat dinner. All right, so we didn't put a time to it. And everybody just, after 2 or 3 days of trying to do that and you don't put anything on a calendar, you're not specific about the time aspect, and again, not having devices people are going to lose patience, and they're going to lose it's not going to be purposeful. And that's why I say set that goal, because when you're doing it, data-driven decisions are important. Let's say, for example, again, at 6 p.m., everybody can't get to the dinner table, but you can at 7. Maybe there's the soccer practice ends at 5:30. All right, and you got to drive and get home. Dinner's got to be made, or if you're going out to eat or whatnot, you finally figure out that, after 8 days, we have not been able to make our 6 p.m. time. But what we have been able to do is make our 7 o'clock time. So just change it. It's all right? So once you have goals and you have time based onto it, it's important that you track it so that you can actually see some changes that need to be made in order for you to continue to make that goal. This is the reason why I said in the beginning, if you set a goal, for example, 120 minutes a week that we're going to spend time with each other. Again, so that's about 15 minutes per day. And then on Fridays or Saturdays, however you want to do the family game night, you may spend some 20 minutes there doing that. Now, let's say again, the first week, you only get 50 minutes across the whole week. So you set a goal. You know what, you all, let's do 60 minutes. And if we get 60 minutes together, then we're going to celebrate, right? So you see, data is important to have to be able to continue and change your goal as you see fit based upon that information. Now, listen, time bound is the last step in this process. And you really want to ask yourself, when do you want to achieve this by? Again, so I had this 30-day challenge. And again, the goal of doing it every single day is to create consistency. And that consistency then creates habits for you to be able to do something new and different that's going to change your life. And again, in this example, for your family's legacy. So are there any urgent factors that will determine when the goal needs to be met? And I would say yes. If you're trying to spend time with your family, that's an urgent need, right? And you want to be able to change that. Is it realistic? Can you do this in 30 days? Can you spend 15 minutes a day with each other and then at the end see how much time that you've actually done a whole month? Yes, I think it's possible, right? And do you need to factor any other time where you won't be able to work on your goal? Again, we talked about that a little earlier. If you have a work schedule or kids or, the job time and change, you need to be able to figure all that out so that you can adjust the goal so you still be able to achieve it at the end of the day. And listen, timing is everything. So the first 30 days are important to establish routine, to establish consistency. And 15 minutes a day, you would think, well, that's not a lot of time. It is when you figure out how much stuff we have to do on a daily basis. We got to go to work. When you're getting kids ready for school. And so when you put 15 minutes down of quality time, instead of an hour where everybody's on their phones, and say, look, we spent an hour today. But if you were on your phone, that's not true connection, right? That's not true quality time. So this is the reason why we want to say, set the deadline. Listen, time bound, everybody's got to eat. I said that earlier, right? Since everybody's got to eat, we're going to take this chaotic time where everybody's just, grabbing a Lunchable, or they're grabbing one of those microwave dinners and we're just going to eat because we got all this thing to do. And we're going to say, you know what, 15 minutes we're going to spend with each other. Drop everything what we're doing, and we're going to spend that time to be able to work with one another. Listen, even on the weekends, if everything kind of winds down in the weekend, a weekend is another great time to be able to spend time with each other. So again, time can really work for you, but you have to actually quantify it in order to make it work. And then setting that daily, weekly routine can build a deeper connection for you. Again, deep connection is not just everyone spending time on these things and we communicate through this, right? If you really want that deep connection with family or with anybody that you're trying to spend time with, then you have to put those things away and work on interacting with one another where you can connect face to face and make sure that is done. The overall goal is to take action. Now, some people are not going to take action. Whatever goals that they set, they're not going to take action. But the goal is to take action. And when you do, you're going to see your life improve in ways that you have never seen before. So listen, that is just a quick way of how to set SMART goals in 2024 using the SMART method, being specific, being measurable, achievable, relevant, and finally time bound. When you follow this system, you're going to see your goals from 2024 not only have the short-term goals, but the long-term goals overall help you to be successful from 2024 and beyond. As always, you all keep it real. I want you to stay relevant, show empathy, be active, and finally live to learn. See you later.